We have new details this Saturday morning emerging about Luigi Mangione, the man charged with murder in the deadly shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. As police continue to zero in on a motive, we are learning that Mangione was never insured by United Healthcare. That's according to the company. More details also emerging on how police were able to ID him. Investigators receiving a tip from the San Francisco Police Department identifying Mangione before his arrest. Here with us now is trial attorney and legal analyst Misty Marris. Misty, I feel like every time I talk to you about this story, it gets crazier and crazier. Let's talk about Mangione. We know he's still in Pennsylvania. He's fighting his extradition here in New York. Why does he want to waive that, and how could that help his case?
So it's twofold. So on one hand, he's fighting extradition. Now the reports are indicating that he may waive it. He's retained counsel in New York. At first, to fight extradition, which is really a battle he was never going to win, but was a delay and gave an opportunity for him to meet with his defense lawyer and go through any possible defenses without waiving any of his rights. But now, it's very clear a grand jury has convened in New York on these charges, meaning probable cause will be established. That means that fight is not likely to succeed by any means. So just acquiescing, moving the process along and getting the New York component of this started would inure to his benefit as this case moves forward.
Well, let's talk about the evidence, the mounting evidence. We know the suspect's fingerprints and shell casings matched the gun that were found on the scene, including the water bottle, the protein bar, also found on the crime scene. Of course, that manifesto, he had a to-do list. How can all this shape his case moving forward?
Mounting evidence, but also a mountain of evidence.
Yeah,
so
right.
How this is being put together, there's a tremendous amount of video evidence showing this individual, this suspect, going throughout the city. Well, now what's happening is that's being matched up with forensic evidence to say this individual that you see in this video is now confirmed to be the suspect because we have a fingerprint. We have something on a water bottle, on a Kind bar wrapper. So it's basically confirming that path. Couple that with the most damaging piece of evidence that exists, which is when he's apprehended, the gun is on his person. So the minute you match that from the forensic standpoint to the ballistics, it becomes very difficult to say this isn't the individual who was involved in this crime.
Misty, why is he charged with second-degree murder? And can you explain to me and our viewers the difference, and can that charge be upgraded once he's in New York?
Yes, so New York has an interesting statute, and the statute varies state to state as to what qualifies as the different degrees of murder. In New York, there's a very specific set of aggravated circumstances set forth in the statute that qualifies for first-degree murder.
Okay.
Murder of a police officer, a judge, murder in the commission of a felony, a murder for hire. It's very specific and very narrow. Second-degree murder is actually a premeditated intentional murder like we would think of as a classic murder case like this one. So that's why you see this as second-degree murder, because this really fits factually into what that statute encompasses. However, there's the possibility that you could see an upgrade here, and that would be based on an aspect of terrorism. So terrorism is another way to upgrade into that first-degree category, and the definition in New York is to intimidate a civil population or to try and change a government policy through violent actions. And so to the extent that you continue to look at this motive and you see more and more of those pieces coming together, that would be an avenue where you could see an upgraded charge.
I know a lot of people are wondering about that. Thank you. Also, several fundraisers were taken offline. There was a GoFundMe page to pay for Mangione's legal fees. He's become a viral sensation. How difficult will it be for courts to choose an impartial jury, an unsympathetic jury?
Right. So this is the type of case. First of all, so GoFundMe's taken down. It violated its policies. You're not supposed to be using money for violent crimes. But there's an issue of jury nullification, which means that a jury believes that somebody committed the crime, but because of a bigger public policy issue, they ultimately determine to find somebody not guilty. Now, it's something that's not permitted in New York or any other state, for the most part, to argue that the jury should nullify a verdict when they truly believe that the person committed the crime. That being said, there's going to be all sorts of procedures in place to get an impartial jury in there who's going to base their determination on the evidence as opposed to anything else. But Hannah, this is the type of case where you could see an individual wanting to be on that jury, to potentially impact the verdict.
Sure.
So you're going to see in that voir dire process, vetting that jury, a lot of safeguards in place to get individuals who can come in with an impartial perspective.
We also have reporting that a prominent criminal defense lawyer has been hired by the Mangione family. How important is it to get legal representation this early on?
Critical.
Yeah,
absolutely
sure.
critical, because keep in mind, there's going to be two ways this defense is going to go. The "it wasn't me" defense.
Right.
Which is becoming less and less likely to succeed as time goes on, or "it was me, but." And so what's that but going to be? Is it going to be something about mental capacity, extreme emotional disturbance? We don't know yet how that formulates. It's tough when you have a premeditated case and you have somebody who is on the run because they're aware of their actions. And that's a lot of what this encompasses. But the lawyer is going to be working overtime on the evidentiary issues to try and get some of what is very damaging evidence potentially thrown out of the courtroom so a jury will never see it. And that process starts from the inception of the case to analyze whether or not there are constitutional arguments for preclusion that could potentially be very impactful at trial. For instance, say that gun was seized improperly, hypothetically,
right,
at that McDonald's. Once that's thrown out, where's your ID?
Where's
so
the evidence?
The case could change tremendously based on those types of arguments, not only about the evidence and what was found, about the collection of the evidence, the chain of handling that evidence, and about how that evidence was actually seized.
Misty, I'm running out of time, but I want to ask you very quickly, if you were representing him, how would you move forward from this point?
That would be my first. That would be my analysis. My analysis would be, how are we dealing with this evidence? What's really going to come into that courtroom?
So fascinating. All of us talking about this. Misty Marris, thank you for breaking it down, my friend. We appreciate it.
Thank you.